You go to the Middle East much?
Last time I've been in the Middle East was in '84.
Oh, it's a long time.
Long time. Long
Why
time.
not sooner?
I stopped flying. I'm scared.
What do you want to get better at?
Singing.
Biggest fear?
Flying.
Sounds ridiculous. I don't give anyone else a fear of flying. But when I look out of the plane window, I just feel like we're going to go and just go towards the ground because I know what that feels like. I've seen it.
On this week is about me taking my daughter to college for her first college, as well as Kenya's fear of flying. Kenya Bear has actually created our show, and he's my partner in this, and he has a severe fear of flying.
How have you flown with him?
So when I was younger, I felt like I was just scared of a lot of things. When I was really young, I hated to put my head underwater. When I grew up a little bit, I really didn't like lifts. I didn't like roller coasters. But when I was 9, coming back from my family holiday, we hit some turbulence while flying. And at that point, I just decided that I didn't want to fly anymore.
So I remember afterwards, whenever we talked about going on holiday and it involved flying, you'd said, not in a very dramatic way, but you just said, I don't want to fly again. And it was something that became a real blocker for you and you didn't even want to talk about it. I know you would get upset if we even sort of mentioned flying or thought about flying. So in the end, we just agreed we wouldn't talk about it. We talked to a friend who was a pilot, who didn't seem particularly concerned and said, you know, that it would be something that you would probably grow out of. We talked to a friend, and you came along as well, who was a counsellor, who talked about strategies that maybe you could use if you were to fly again to make you less anxious. But I think because you wouldn't even consider flying, that wasn't something, that those sort of strategies weren't something that we ever thought about putting in place.
Yeah. Now, my family were very supportive of this. Over the next 10 years, really we would just go on family holidays where we didn't need to fly. We'd take the train to places, we'd drive to places, but I feel like it really did limit where we can go, what we could do.
I think the first year after you'd been skiing, we planned to go to Italy on a twin town trip, and I think we'd even booked your flight. So I think you were almost reserving judgment, and we obviously booked it because you thought you might be able to come, but then decided you couldn't. Yeah. And I think that was, I can't remember, you know, how soon, how close to the flight that you decided not to go, but you know, you stayed behind. And I think when we got back, I think you felt yourself that you'd missed out on a great trip, because we did have a really good time. And I think you felt yourself disappointed that you'd missed out on the trip, but at the same time it wasn't enough of a disappointment to force you to consider flying.
Now, I've always wanted to overcome this fear ever since I redeveloped it. In 2012, I was talking to a friend who mentioned that airlines put on courses to help people overcome this fear. And that was something that really interested me. I even talked about it in 2013 when I was doing weekly uploads to YouTube in a video called 7 Things You Didn't Know About Me.
I thought our plane was dropping out the sky, and the thoughts that went through my mind there kind of stopped me from ever going on a plane since.
Now, in that video, I talked about how motivated I was to overcome the fear that year, and how I just really wanted to get it sorted.
This year, I think I really want to try and combat it and get over it, because I know that in later life, I'm going to need to do it for business, do it for pleasure, have family over in America.
So I didn't look into that year, whether that was due to time constraints or really just not wanting to push myself to overcome my fear. But I kept thinking about it. It's something that I think just built over the years. And it really only started to have an effect on me in second year university, some 3 years later. I started applying to some engineering jobs, some of which had international hubs, and the prospect of having to fly for work started to become, I guess, more of a problem. In third year university, I was given the opportunity, if I wanted to fly out with an engineering team to try and break a world record. And that was really the tipping point where I decided that if I didn't start looking into this sooner rather than later, I'd start missing out on some pretty big opportunities. So I booked my course. So it's 2 days until the event actually happens, and tonight I am driving up to Birmingham to film an event tomorrow, and I'll drive back home tomorrow evening. Now, up until this point I really haven't had a lot of time to think about the event, so I've been quite calm and collective, and quite frankly my brain has kind of thought of it as an event in the future, in the distant future, so I haven't really thought about it that much. But now we're getting to days, it's starting to be a bit scary, and it's amazing how quickly my mind can change from not thinking about it being absolutely fine to starting to think about it and mull over what's going to happen, and my heart starts racing, I start getting kind of sweaty palms, and it's a really, really weird sensation, but I think all I need to do is to keep in mind that the things, like once this whole course is over, and once I've got on the plane and conquered this, the feeling that I'm going to feel is going to be absolutely amazing, and then the places I can go, and the things that limited me before won't limit me again. But I'll check in with you close to the time and give you an update. Now, I had a great day filming in Birmingham, but where I was actually filming was very, very close to the Birmingham airport. So after the day, I decided to go over to the airport and just sit down and just going to have a look. Looking back at it, this was actually a really big help. I hadn't really been around an airport for many years, so to see planes take off and land so regimented and so safely, I guess instilled some confidence in me that the next day hopefully would be alright. One of the things that was important to me was taking it at my own pace. I had people left, right and centre telling me that it's nothing to be scared of and I should just go and do it. But I knew that when I would be ready, I'd know it. One of the things that helped was watching a lot of travel videos and vlogs. When people would point the camera at the plane window on takeoff, I'd always feel really, really nervous and quite scared and just have that feeling of dread. But over the years, that feeling transitioned more into excitement and I guess being a bit in awe. And that was really the point where I thought that maybe I could tackle this.
Okay, so today is Sunday, the 10th of July, 2016, and as you can probably tell, I'm quite tired. We're up quite early because we need to drop off my uncle, aunt and cousin so they can go home to San Francisco. So that's why I have to get to the airport early, and then we go off to a hotel where the conference is being held at about 10 o'clock. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so we've now arrived at the Holiday Inn where it's being held. It's just kind of half a mile away from the Heathrow Airport, so this is where the conference will be held all day. Felt quite nervous going past Heathrow, seeing the planes taking off, and still a bit cautious, but yeah, I think we'll just have to take it step by step and see how it goes. So, time to go in and register.
Really happened. Our first impressions, I'm very, very surprised to see how many people are actually here. There must have been kind of 100-ish, just like the nest, probably more. And I honestly didn't realise how popular these actual courses are. But yeah, it's obviously as it's sinking in, it's taking me a while to kind of process everything, and I am constantly kind of getting agitated and anxious and then having to calm myself down again, and it's a really weird feeling, and I'm okay at the moment, but I think we'll see how the course goes. I have absolutely no clue what's going to happen, so yeah, I'll update you later on.
One of the things that surprised me a lot was the range of people there. There was a huge children's group of people between 5 and 9, and also the types of people there as well. There are people like myself who hadn't flown for many years, to people who did fly on a regular basis, but really hated it. The course takes on something like 2,000 to 3,000 people a year. So I think with a fear that was so personal, and something that I really only dealt with by myself because I didn't know anyone else who had it, to know that I was in a room full of people who had a similar sort of feeling or same feeling to me, I think was really refreshing and really comforting.
So just in the middle of our first little break thing from the course, and it is going really well. We've gone through kind of some basic psychotherapy stuff, and gone through breathing exercises and things like that, and now just moved on to the engineering side of things, talking to various pilots about the individual things that go on in the plane and how it flies, and a lot of the stuff I already knew. I've done a lot of research into this already, but it's kind of quite handy to have a look and just to kind of be reaffirmed that everything is working, it's fine and stuff like that. So yeah, we've got another short session, then I think it's lunch, and then kind of building up towards the flight. But at the moment I'm still I'm more positive than I was at the start of the day, and it's definitely getting better. So I'll give you an update later on in the day and we'll see how it goes.
One of the big turning points in the day for me especially was in the engineering session. We talked about turbulence, and we talked about how safe it was, what was going on, and really how as humans we react to it. I didn't realise how big an effect it would have on me, but because I feel like my fear was founded on turbulence, as soon as that section was covered off and I felt reassured, I felt like I could get on the plane and go. But there were still a few niggling feelings that I felt like I really just had to resolve when on the plane.
So we went through all the technical side of things of the plane, and then we had a large kind of Q&A section. A lot of the questions were very sort of intense, but just getting out of the way. And the pilots went through kind of the different things that the plane will be doing and different exercises to show us what the plane can do. Throughout all of that, I fluctuated quite a lot between feeling confident and not so much. I found myself, when we just finished lunch, when I was having lunch, just my hand was just trembling. And that was just a reaction because of the unknowing, but also knowing that we're kind of the midway points of the day before we go and jump on the plane. So just the reality starting to set in as well. So yeah, I'm still very nervous, but I'm getting more confident. I want to do it and I want to get on the plane, and that's obviously the end goal. So we'll see what we can do, and I'll check back with you later.
Not before long, it was time to go to Heathrow. I just want to say that at that moment, I was petrified. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I really didn't know how I was going to react to it. But I knew that I'd come this far, and I just had to go and do it.
So we're here flying at 12,000 feet towards Southampton. I remember that horrible feeling of going up and kind of it being kind of lumpy and just dropping very slightly, just that horrible feeling. But now we're cruising, it's fine, it's great weather, and I'm okay. I'm okay, so I'm glad I'm up and here with Mummy House now.
I guessed that when you were ready and when it was something that you really wanted to do, then that would be the thing that motivated you to fly again, which in the end turned out to be true, because you matured, you grew up, and then this opportunity to go to America came up, and that was the thing that persuaded you that it was worth overcoming your fear. It wasn't going to be just a family holiday. It was going to be something much bigger than that and much more of a life experience for you. And I think that's what happened. And
passing 200 feet now in a second towards the final landing runway. You'll find the aircraft swaying slightly to catching counter-slant. Passing 100 feet at 140 miles an hour. 50 feet now, starting the flare. 20 feet now, touching down now. So stand, the reverse is going to start coming in. So you should be on the top. And we're passing.
So it's been a year ago to the day that I made that film. I can honestly say that my outlook on flying has completely changed. I've been very fortunate over the last year to fly 7 times to some amazing locations, do some amazing things with some amazing people. I feel like it'd be very, very typical of me to say that I should have done it earlier, or that if you have this fear you should do it. But I don't think I would have believed it. I feel like I needed to be ready and want it enough to take on this challenge. And the thing is, it's just not a thing, and that's the best part about it. It's just not a thing. You don't have to worry about taking a 15-hour train ride to somewhere on a holiday instead of taking a 1 hour or 2 hour plane journey, and then how that would impact the people travelling as well, which is just the worst feeling in the world. But just knowing that travelling can be effortless and easy, and you can get to some amazing places. One of the things that I dreamt about when I had this fear was coming to the US. And especially doing a road trip. I think that would be the best thing in the world. And now I'm making this in Nashville, Tennessee, on the back end of a road trip for 6 weeks with my brother. And it's just been incredible. I really can't put into words how I feel, but just not worrying about this thing that engulfed my life and limited me for so long, it's just incredible. I'm just so happy. I think I'm gonna leave it there.